I have so many scars.
And I wasn't saying that hurting you so much, just the appearance of the scars I would draw. Like, I drew like stitch marks.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Vietnam. See, I can say that because I've actually seen the movie.
Unlike Somber, probably.
Happy Blood and Beans, everybody. Happy Sunday. I am here with my wife, Pockets Lockhart, and we are also joined by special guest, Lilith Gallows.
Energetic in the morning. He's not used to energy in the morning.
Lilith knows I am not a morning person.
She can't see it, but I'm finger gunning.
Yeah, finger gun. I'm getting the finger guns over here. It's understood. Sabian is not a morning individual.
To the point where he actually
So.
And now I just with my reds now.
Last night was the Discord party. For those of you that are stopping in late, I'm just kind of letting that red light go here for a minute or two. See if we can get some people to stop in, and then I will continue on with some topics. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm just going to start talking to you.
Oh shit, I didn't take my...
Those of you that have showed up at a later point in time, because I know it does happen.
Oh yeah, they file in later
so
on.
I'm trying to hold off on
normally like 5 minutes before the stream ends.
on the juicy stuff here. But it is a chill lo-fi morning. Just hanging out, listening to some beats and sipping some coffee and
it's funny to be the only one without a hangover.
Doing a bunch of just chilling.
I drank half of Mike's last night.
I don't have a hangover.
You always say that to me, and then I find out in Discord. Yeah, I went to work with a hangover.
Well, it's not like a hangover.
You didn't even say anything to me before you went to work, bitch.
I was a little tired.
I would have given you 2 Tylenol. Had made you some extra coffee to take with you.
There's coffee there. Good morning, dog lover.
But still.
Happy Sunday. Happy Blood and Beans.
It's like a 25-minute ride.
Now we have a viewer. So now that there is a viewer,
and especially if you woke up hungry,
I will again just quickly reiterate. I am joined this morning by my wife, Pockets Lockhart, and special guest appearance, Lilith Gallows is with us this morning.
So he's not all feeling.
So,
when he goes in.
Frank, good morning.
Frank.
Happy Sunday.
Hey, morning, Frankie.
So, Discord party went well.
It's kind of weird because
went and I grabbed Lilith on Thursday, and then on Friday I got paid. So on my way home from work, I grabbed a bottle of Everclear and a bottle of Rumplemints. And no, we were not drinking Everclear last night. I wouldn't have made it. But I did want to try the Shiloh. So Friday I came home. And I tried that drink I've been talking about, called the Shiloh. It's 1/2 Everclear and 1/2 Rumplemints, equal parts. Then just add a splash of Sprite for sparkle, and I held it up to the black light. It works. It actually gives it sparkle. You serve it in a little snoot glass, one of those little 1/2-ounce, tiny little snoot glasses. And yeah, it's the Shiloh. It is sweet. It is pure and clear. It sparkles, it shines, and it's strong as fuck, and it's tiny as hell. It's just like my daughter. So, yeah, my daughter now has it. It's good. I was expecting needing a chaser, because this tiny little cocktail I made is 145 proof.
Honey, they can't see your fingers.
I know, but I'm making the little fingers.
I'm making the little fingers.
And
oh my god.
It was really good. Like, I drank that. I had a burn to it, but it was very tasty. So I actually had a couple of those, but last night I was drinking rum. Lilith was drinking the Rumplemints until just about went low on that, and then switched to rum. We watched Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2.
I don't know how strong yours are, right?
In the Discord together. I put them both on, and I stuck to the rules. Every time I left, I took a drink. I didn't realize exactly how funny those movies were until, you start doing a drinking game at the humor. Then you realize exactly how funny they were. I laugh a lot through those movies. So, needless to say, we had a long night. I was planning on possibly putting on a third movie, but it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was done. It was a great night, though. It was a lot of fun, and we all survived. We're all here this morning.
Right. I don't.
So, to those of you that did come to the Discord party, I do say thank you. Those of you that are stopping in a later point in time that came to the Discord party, I thank you. For those of you that were unable to make it, you were missed, but it was fun. I was making the little, like little squishy, like
little fingers,
the pointer and the thumb, and just little snoot glass.
Think of the tiniest violin playing.
Think of like a shot glass, but the size like cut down in half, like a tiny shot glass.
Like, why is my sleeve wet?
But then shape it into the shape of like a fancy wine glass or something, like a really tiny one. That's a snoot glass. Good morning, Pimp Demon.
Use the lighter.
I'm glad that you are here.
Thank you, honey. Hi, Pimp Demon.
I'm happy you were able to show up last night. It was fun having you there. I do also want to apologize. My wife has brought it to my attention that I am loud and annoying when I drink. So, if I annoyed you, I am sorry.
This explains why he keeps apologizing. Stop making him insecure, Pockets.
I'm not.
Lilith says I'm insecure and that I was fine. And everybody I've talked to says I was fine. But when someone tells you that, I don't know. If she says they're being nice.
A true friend will really tell you.
Okay, but we've had...
So, apparently I am loud. But I am me.
Yeah, well, we haven't discussed it in the meeting.
No, I meant the rest of us have talked about Sabians and stuff.
When I'm not around, basically.
Yes.
They're
And no
all-
one has a bad word to say about you. At
So-
least no one in the immediate group.
I will still try and tone it down a bit. I don't want to be the annoying guy. I don't want to be the guy at the party. Everyone's like, oh, it's him.
You were never going to...
No, you're not like that. You're not like that.
That is important to me.
No, but when you're like yelling into the mic, like yo, you're not like singing punk rock. Okay, it's a drinking game.
Okay, well,
That's my sight into it, and also, I am the wife, and it hurts my head.
so at the very least, my wife finds me loud and obnoxious.
Hey, I love you. Okay, at least I'm willing to tell you the truth.
I
The truth
appreciate
is,
it.
I genuinely don't mind it. I don't think you
And I
understand
think you're still
I
absolutely
appreciate
adorable.
that too. Because unfortunately, I will do my best to curb all these things, but
It ain't gonna.
I'm me.
I know that. I already know.
I am me. I'm not the kind of person that falls over. I'm not the kind of person that starts slurring their speech and can't talk. I'm not the kind of person that can't
No, you
think
just
and
get
makes
very
bad.
loud and happy
And
and
I'm not the
excited.
person that makes bad decisions. I am happy. I'm fun. I like to party.
Well, maybe
and so when I
whacking
do,
the
and
log
I
for an
don't
hour
party,
is
I don't
wrong.
cut loose all the time. I cut loose basically on Thursday. Wednesday's a little,
Like,
but
you took a
Thursday
hike,
is my
I guess,
friend, my
one
night with my
night,
friends,
and
and
then
then that's it. The rest of the week is fine. It's just that night. But Saturday, we had a party. So again, I don't want people thinking like, I'm just sitting here every day and having drinks until it's time to go to work, and that's not me.
From doing that.
I am very busy and do have lots of. I'm too busy to be like that, unfortunately. Can't party all the time. But when I do, yeah, I like to have fun.
You are fun.
Episode 6 is about a half an hour long.
Thank you.
So if you're interested, but yeah, episode 6 is up. Episode 7 is coming. I actually have to begin working on that. I have to get everybody's lines collected. I don't think I had everyone's quite yet. I know I don't have Lilith. Lilith's either going to do it here today before I take her home, or might let her throat rest and do it later on in the week. So, how long has it been out?
God, I'm glad you don't have your tags
It's been out since last weekend.
He's got a choke.
So not yesterday, but the Saturday beforehand.
He's loud.
I do try to tell people.
I normally keep him on.
Why isn't there a 3-hour-long episode? Because I'm the one editing it.
I have Damien's chain on my
And that's not gonna happen.
Freaking dongles.
Some of the other stories I've done that are like an hour and a half long or an hour long, those take so much time to work on. A 3-hour-long episode would be, I'd have to quit my job. So it'll happen when I make, and I can become so big on YouTube that I no longer have to work. Yes, I agree, but I try not to make bad decisions. I do try to make, good decisions, educated decisions, things that aren't going to hurt me in the long run. Things that don't hurt other people. Yeah, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes bad decisions. But especially if I'm having a couple of drinks with friends, I'm pretty premeditative about everything. I know my body. I know what I can handle. I know when to stop because if I have any more, I'm going to get sick. I know enough not to drive anywhere. I know enough not to even go anywhere. I'm pretty, they say, drink responsibly. I try to. I very much try to. Yo, Somber. You passed out, dude. I can't blame you, though. I'm sorry that you're congested as hell.
Lilith stayed up.
Yes, Lilith stayed up. I understand. Somber's not feeling well, and Somber also started with the first Terrifier movie. He was right there with part 1, and I could hear him drinking in the background every time I had a drink because he was laughing too. So he was definitely following the rules, and I think he just got halfway through the second one like I did and was like, whoa. I was really tired at the end. I very barely made it through the second movie. I started to get very, very tired.
And your face was very, very red.
I'm sorry. It was fun. I had fun. That first movie made me... I must have laughed 10 times. Well, I know I laughed at least 10 times in the first movie. And so that just kind of
long laughs
gives you an idea of that level.
A couple of those should have been 2 drink laughs. I'm sorry, because they were just so fucking long.
But we don't want
split up. If you have to take a breath in and laugh some more, that's 2 laughs.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yes, it is. That's
okay,
2
but he already
drinks.
had 10.
I don't care. I've seen this motherfucker drink.
Anyway.
But he didn't want to pass out.
No, I wanted to make it to the second movie. That's why after 10 shots, I switched to just taking sips.
I know your sips. Your sips are gulps. I'm not stupid. I've been with you for 17 fucking years.
It was fun.
I just want a sip of your
Those
soda.
movies were great, though. We started off with the... we started the night. I ran a test run with the Terrifier short film, which is the clip that was added into All Hallows Eve. So that was kind of cool. We kind of just started out with the prototype Terrifier, and then we moved into the movies, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun.
That when he married Diane,
I was very much looking forward to last night, almost all weekend long.
He would wrestle with us
all week long.
and Diane be like, "Don't."
We played Mario Kart on Friday. That was cool. Lilith got to experience the game room a little bit because, on Thursdays, like I said, when I hang out with my friends on bar night, I'll fire up the game room. I'll turn on all the black lights, the disco light, the strobe light, the track lighting. I'll put the surround sound up 75% of the way, and I'll put on music, and I'll have a few drinks, and we'll listen to music and stuff. So Friday, like I said, we tried the Shiloh. But that's what I did is I fired up the game room. We were in there jamming for probably about 2 hours. And then we played Mario Kart. We played Mario Kart till like 11. And then we watched Scream 6. Oh, yeah. Non-spoiler. No spoilers. I'm not going to give any spoilers.
Spoiler. The cam version
No
sucks.
spoiler. There's a character in it called Ghostface, Lilith says.
Yeah, and don't watch the cam version.
I will say this much. They said it's the darkest and the goriest Scream movie. It very much is. It's not like, Terrifier levels of gore or anything, but it is probably the goriest Scream movie they made. And it does seem like, the darkest. Has the darkest feeling to it. I actually really liked it. The ending sucked. I did not like the ending. I agree with the person I had watched the non-spoiler review of, where they said the ending felt very cookie cutter. The rest of the movie was so different. And it was good. When the ending just felt kind of cookie cutter, like every other Scream movie. And I wish they just would have done something different with that too. It's definitely not my least favorite Scream movie. I would actually put it above Part 5 and below Part 4. I like Part 1 the best. My next favorite one after the first one is the fourth one. And now I would have to say my next favorite one after that is the sixth one. And then Parts 2 and 3. And then Parts 5. Part 5, then Parts 2, and then 3. Or 3 and then 2. Because Scream 2 is my least favorite. No. Well, they even said it. See, I don't want to. Nope, I'm not. And I probably didn't hear Lilith, but I'm not going to respond to that comment because I don't want to give, again, no spoilers. Zero spoilers. I want you to be able to go into Scream, and take out of it what you want to take out of it. That'd be cool. We play usually every Saturday. Shawnee, I guess, can't make it Saturdays, but Fridays I'm just too busy narrating and editing video and stuff like that. So I just really don't have the time on Friday. Scary movie. I like the scary movies, but I love the Scream movies. Good morning, Fuzzy. How are thee? Happy Sunday. But I'm a big fan, and maybe it's because I grew up with them. Like, the first 3 Scream movies, the Scream trilogy, came out when I was in high school. I think it was like my sophomore, junior, and senior year. I did not get a chance to see the first one in theaters because I really was not on board. I didn't really even know it existed. I did end up watching it after the fact, and my buddy and I fucking loved it. I loved that movie. So when the second one came out, we definitely we grabbed tickets. We actually went to the theater, and then the third one was actually playing in the small theater in Montrose, the town where I used to live near. Okay, so I lived right next to the New York border, but I lived in Pennsylvania, and usually we'd have to go to New York to the mall, to the movie theater, to go there. Montrose does have a theater, but it's a really small Pennsylvania town, so they have 1 or 2 different theaters inside. They show one movie and that's it, and it's not usually anything new, but for some reason they ended up having Scream 3, so I ended up going to the Montrose theater to go watch the third one. And again, I wasn't too happy with it. Left feeling kind of disappointed, but it did, they weren't terrible movies, they just weren't as good as the first one. The fourth one was great. Loved the fourth one. And I liked fifth one again was okay. There were parts of it I liked, and there were parts of it I didn't care for. But there were some really good highlights in it. Pimp Demon, you have excellent taste. Big fan of Friday the 13th and Locust Lake. I'd have to say me too. I'm kind of a fanboy a little bit, of each one of those franchises. I am also charging with coffee. It was a long night.
To trip with somebody else? like that.
It was a fun night.
You have to really be connected on a totally different level to trip with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's so intense.
Doughboy's story, the escape of Darren Cawill,
I asked him to marry me.
happened last night.
I think it was the last next stop.
And again, that was the first time I had listened to it. Came out good, I think. And I know it sounds weird, like I'm making these videos, but, you know, I haven't listened to them. How's that possible? And it is actually possible. I narrate in a certain way where I can just clip audio files together and that ensures that all the bad spots are cut out where I mess up, because I mess up quite a bit. Anybody who's heard me read a story live knows that. So I don't have to actually listen to those files for finding those areas. They're already identified, and it's just a matter of like overlapping audio files. Then, you know, I just go back through. I can put in the sound effects without listening to the whole story. I can just listen to like the part I need and hear, okay, yep, that's where the sound effect goes, and throw the sound effect in. But not have to listen to the whole thing, just little bits and pieces here and there. And then make video and make the music for it, and I don't have to listen to it to do that, to add those to it. And that's it. And then save. So I can listen, I can make an entire video and not listen to it. That's usually what the quality check is for. Can I have the lighter when you're done? It's usually what the quality check is for, but I have not had time to go back and listen to quality check stories.
Like, not just when I close my eyes, like, right now, it's staticky.
So, yeah.
First, laughed, said it was fun, and did it again. And I can recall several times where I've accidentally run into metal poles at the park.
Sorry, I'm
I
just kind of zoned out a little bit, listening to Pockets and Lilith talk. Hope everybody else is having a good morning. Yes, this is actually the 91st Blood and Beans. We're almost on episode 100 here of Blood and Beans. And I would like to do something special for the 100th episode of Blood and Beans, but I honestly don't know what to do. I'll figure something out. I usually do.
It's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, we are getting very close to the 100th episode. It's actually kind of surprising that, you know, we've done this that many times. So, Blood and Beans has kind of been a thing now for years. It's amazing. Almost 2 years. The stream about nothing.
I think it's like our second camping trip in that's normally there. I really want to start.
I figured that was going to be your next question. And yeah, I would. Most people are like, anytime you hit a milestone like that, like, you're going to do something? Are you going to do something special? I mean, yeah, I'd like to. I don't know what. I don't know what. Go figure it out. I'm not there yet. Still got like, what, 7 weeks? 9 weeks? 9 weeks. I can do math. My favorite part of the weekend is Saturday, because I don't have to wake up and go to work, and I don't have to go to sleep thinking that I have to go to work. I love Saturday. I live for Saturday. I live my entire life for Saturdays. Big fan. Like today, when I'm done with Blood and Beans, I'm going to take a shower, and got to get ready to run Lilith back to Massachusetts. So I'll spend 3 hours of the day in the car today, and I get home, you know, basically got to get ready to go to work tomorrow. Back on the ball. Get my business suit ready, my shirts, my ties. I love Saturday. They are my favorite days. Favorite days. But I like Sunday mornings. I'll say that. I do love Sunday mornings. Though soon, my Sunday morning will not be lo-fi in setting up for Blood and Beans. pretty soon I'll be going to bed on Saturdays, hopefully at around midnight is what I'm going to be shooting for, because I'd like to get up at like 5 o'clock on Sunday morning and take my kayak to the lake and go fishing, because I love fishing, and I didn't do any fishing last year at all.
No, you didn't.
At all.
It was depressing, actually.
I'm going to start, I want to go fishing again.
Why are you out here?
So pretty soon my mornings will not be lo-fi and setting up for Blood and Beans with coffee. Instead, my mornings will be spent out on the lake, listening to the beavers and stuff splashing around. I'll still be back at around the same time, because I usually leave the lake at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So if Blood and Beans ends up being later, it'll end up being like noon instead of 11. So... yeah, I do like my Saturdays. Back to work tomorrow. Stress, phone calls.
Oh my god.
Analyzing and judging people. Because that's what I do for a living now. Hiring people and trying to place them on jobs. Basically, analyze them, judge their skills, and try and get them placed. So, hoping. Fingers crossed.
I did not sleep enough.
Thanks to Pockets, though, at least I have that open unemployment claim, so I don't have to worry about work. Like, I do.
Well, no,
because that's who I am.
Getting your card now, at least.
Yeah.
Because I had to call the fucking governor's office again.
My card was canceled. It was expired, actually, and KeyBank never sent me another one, or they might have, and I was working for Tradesman at the time. And maybe just didn't need it.
They fucked up the claims.
So, but they never sent me a card. So I had to call on Thursday on my way to get Lilith. I was going down the highway. I called and just ordered a new card. But my claim's open. Money's either there or coming. So.
It's there on the new card. And now the new card is on its way.
So point is I don't really have to worry about work. I should be able to just go in and, do my thing without being nervous and stuff like that. But that's just who I am. Like, I'm never like just complacent about things. I can't just be like, yeah, it's work. Fuck it. I don't really care. I do care. I want to do good at work. I want to, learn a new skill set. I like helping people. But it is good to know that, like, if, my manager suddenly decides that, this just isn't the place for me, and I am not, bringing in enough money. If he does decide to let me go, I don't even have a waiting week. I still have an open unemployment claim. So now I won't be hurting this time. If something happens, I won't be dead in the water and in danger of losing my house. That was not fun. 3 months with no income. Oh my God, that was terrifying.
Yep.
That was a very, very scary place to be. So at least that won't happen again. And that's, worth everything.
Oh, yeah.
That in itself, just not having that worry is good.
Oh, no, yeah, no, Livingston fired.
Yeah,
That was fucked up. What was more fucked up is that my stepmother basically abandoned me.
Try and say company A and company. I'm trying not to. I did say,
I'm not even talking.
I know. I'm trying not to name drop companies. I don't want to slander. I don't want somebody like, oh, this person's bashing this ABC company, and then ABC company comes after me to sue me because I'm saying shit about them. Shiloh is asleep.
Disclaimer, not ABC as in the show. ABC as in XYZ.
Yeah, Shiloh's still asleep. Shiloh was up pretty late. She was up later than me. So, yeah, she's still passed out.
It's okay. Your brain and my brain work together, and I think we'll both be good.
I have a brain.
My mother used to tell me that Erica and I used to share our brains.
It is nice to have things squared back away. Have a
you
lighter?
ever look at the...
No, it's on the couch. The couch has the lighter.
You ever see a gecko? I forget the specific kind.
Very much a stream about nothing this morning. Again, coming to these things, I don't really have a whole lot of topics. and you just kind of wing it. So, if it does feel a little bland today, that could be why. And I can't really talk too much about Scream 6, because I don't want to give any spoilers. It was weird that Neve Campbell was not in a Scream movie, because she's not in it, and I understand why, but it worked really well. Like, I like that she wasn't in it. It worked fine. Didn't need to have Neve Campbell in it.
The bears on the mountain, and it doesn't really make me feel comfortable in April going camping with bears roaming on the fucking mountain, and me always having a cooler of fucking food.
Yes, it is very much a stream about nothing. Any and all topics. Got my work clothes all hung up and Febrezed them once. They all get Febrezed twice. Everything gets Febrezed with pet odor Febrezed just in case. They just came out of the wash too, so they're clean. And then they're all going to get sprayed again with touchable Febreze. So I will be a walking, talking air freshener. At least that's the goal. It's been a good weekend. I've had a lot of fun with my friend. Had a great time at the party last night. It was good. Now is camping. I can't wait to go fucking camping. Oh my god, I'm itching to go camping so goddamn bad. You have to understand about me is I get cabin fever really, really badly. Like, I'm fine with it. I understand the winters are long, and it's fine. And I put up with it until about the end of February. And about the end of February, I know spring is coming, right? Like, I know it's right around the fucking corner. And sometimes March can be pleasant, but it's usually not.
It's usually not, no, it's
and
not.
It leaves me itching so bad for a month to get out of the house. I love the outdoors. No. I love kayaking. I love fishing. I love hiking. I love to hike. Like, if I'm not fishing or kayaking, I'm grabbing my family and I'm throwing a bunch of stuff in a backpack, like water and trail mix and whatever, and we go for a hike for hours.
Something soft.
We'll go for a hike for hours. Wife will bring some left-handed tobacco. And it's just fun. Go hang out in nature and walk up my wife and my children. Or now it's just Shiloh that goes, but like, or in pockets. So it's wife and child. But I love hiking. I love being out in nature and camping. I can't wait to get back to camp. Yeah, I know they are. Hiking's gonna happen soon. Hiking's gonna happen before fishing. I usually end up going hiking in April. I usually don't go fishing until May.
I don't understand what you want.
I usually don't put my kayak in the water and go fishing until May. Kayak fishing.
You're supposed to be with
I really don't. Now that I love my kayak, I don't do too much fishing off of shore unless it's a small body of water. I might go trout fishing. They do stock the creek up here in April, but it depends. Fishing in April is cold. It's cold. I'm not a big fan of fishing in April, but hiking, depending on the day. If it's warm and sunny, yeah, I'll throw on some layers. I'll go for a hike. I love hiking. And like I said, I love camping. The last weekend in April is our first weekend we go camping for the year. We go to camp. It's usually cold. It's usually muddy. It's usually not pretty pleasant. But we do our best to get the camp cleaned up from over the winter and get things ready.
Bail out the fire pit.
Bail out the fire pit.
Which normally has a frog or two in it.
So that way when we come up Memorial Day weekend, which is our second time up there, it's nicer. The camp's already kind of set up. Things are a lot drier. No. It's time for barbecuing. I'll go trout fishing in April. Can't really catch anything before that. I mean, you can, sunfish and stuff, but, I like to go fishing for pickerel or bass. Bass is my favorite. Love going bass fishing. But you can't bass fish until the third Saturday in June. And you can't go fishing for pickerel or pike until the first day of May, May 1st. So it's trout fishing is what's available. And I'm not a big, I'll go trout fishing, and I've caught trout, but Not a huge fan of trout fishing. I'd much rather go to a lake. I love fishing at a lake or a pond or something like that. And my favorite way to fish is in a kayak.
I don't think I've ever actually been in a kayak.
I love my kayak. A kayak is so beautiful. It's silent. You just get right in on that water and you're right down with it. And you're under your own power of the oars. There's no sound. You feel like the bob of the water, like up and down. And you're very connected to nature at that point. I usually can tell if it's going to be a good day fishing or not by telling how many turtles I've seen, how many birds I've seen. Have I seen any snakes on the shoreline? Have I seen the beavers splashing around in the lake? If the rest of the lake is alive, if the whole lake, if there's turtles and there's beavers and there's everything splashing around in the lake, I know it's going to be a good day fishing. It's going to be a good morning fishing because the whole lake is alive. If it's real quiet and you're not seeing anybody or seeing anything, any animals and stuff, might not be. Fish might be laying low. It's usually a pretty good indicator. See, I'm not afraid of kayaks. I love my kayak. And yeah, if you're not careful, they can tip over. And I've got one of those sit-in kayaks, which they're regarded as not too great for fishing because it's like a one-person canoe. But I have stabilizers. I built stabilizers for mine. So it can tip if I try to tip it or if I'm acting like an idiot. But like I have to really lean over and try to get it to tip because I have stabilizers on the sides of mine. And I'm not afraid to be in my kayak. And I can swim. Like, worst that happens is I'm going to go for a swim. I'm fine with that. I've been swimming before. I swim like a fish. I just make sure I carry a knife on me because everything's tethered, right? I got my rod tethers. I've got my tether for my oars. My fishing net is tethered to the kayak. So if it falls in the water, it's tied to the kayak. So it's the only thing is if the kayak goes over and a tether wraps around my ankle or something like that, my foot or whatever, I get caught, that could spell trouble. So I usually keep a knife tied and inside of one of the pockets of my life vest. So that way if that does end up happening, I at least have a fighting chance to grab my knife and cut the tether. So. But that's it. Beyond that, I'm not afraid of kayaks. I love kayaking. It's a lot of fun. I love being out on the water. My parents used to take me boating all the time when I was a kid. All the time. I love being out on a boat. I love being out on the water. I like fishing off the bank and stuff, and that's fine if you're fishing in like a creek or like, a small river. But a lot of times fish aren't just hanging out right where you're able to stand and fish. Sometimes you have to go to where the fish are, and a lot of times those places are places you can't really get to by land, like lily pad beds and stuff like that. A motorboat can't get into really shallow waters, and it's loud. By the time you pull in someplace, you've scared all the fish away. A kayak sits shallow, real shallow, and doesn't make noise. And if you're, you know what you're doing when you're paddling, you can just coast right into a fishing hole with no sound, no noise. Throw your line out. You haven't scared any of the fish. It's like hunting. I don't know. I don't really get seasick. So I don't think so. No. Probably not. I don't think you'd get any more seasick in a kayak than you would like an inner tube. Like, if you can float around on a tube, you can float around in a kayak. It's not a boat. It's like a boat, but it's not. It's a one-person canoe. It's a glorified floaty.
Doing the best I can.
There is a baby in the background. We have a kitten with very good lungs.
Not helping at all. And this one is kind of a nitwit.
And she says it's also a nitwit. It's a loud nitwit.
Yeah,
Fishing's very much like hunting. You first of all, when you go fishing, you have to know the fish you're going for. Like, you can catch a bass off of a worm in a bobber. It happens. But on a general rule, it's rare. Because bass are predatory. They're a predator fish. They actually like to chase their food. That's why bass will go after live bait. Catfish are the exact opposite. Catfish typically stick to the bottom. They don't swim around and they don't chase their food. They eat dead things. So fishing for catfish, you want to use a different bait. You want to put your bait at a different depth. It's a completely different kind of fishing. You have to know the fish that you're going for. You have to know the things that they're eating in the lake so you can mimic that with the baits that you're using. You have to know the time of year, how clear the water is. That'll let you know what color what color bait to use. If you know the underwater terrain of where the drop-offs are, the cliffs and stuff, you can actually calculate where most of the fish are going to be so they can actually group together the food that they eat. Fishing's very, very much like hunting. Very much like hunting. You can catch fish by just throwing a worm on a hook and tossing it in the water. Yeah, you might catch something. But if you know fish, like the fish you're going for, how it acts, how it responds, what it feeds on, where it usually sits to, rest and hide, you'll catch more fish. Used to kayak a lot as a kid. There was a club near my house. I accidentally caught a fish with my paddle once. That's hilarious. I had a bass once jump right back in my kayak. It was a little bass, as I couldn't keep him. He was like 6 inches, 7 inches. So, I took the hook off and I put him back in the water nice and gentle. Like, I didn't throw him. I set him back in the water and tried to release him nice and gentle. And I did. And he swam real slow and turned around, stuck his head up out of the water, looked at me, fucking barked, and jumped out of the water and back into the kayak, at me. The fish jumped at me out of the water. It was pissed that I threw it back. Or pissed that I caught it in the first place. But that's how a bass is, right? That's what bass act like. Bass are aggressive. They don't have teeth, but they're a very aggressive fish. And if you know that, you want to use loud, obnoxious baits that look injured. Something that's going to attract a bass's instinct to strike. That's why a lot of times topwater lures will work really well to get the bass to, jump out of the water like a great white shark. Because that's a bass act like. They're a very aggressive fish. Yeah, it barked. 100%. This thing fucking barked at me. It was weird. It was it's almost like a squeak. Squeak bark. It was fucking weird sounding. And jumped right back at me. It was a tiny, 6 to 7 inch small, largemouth bass. Yeah. Strangest thing ever. I've had so many weird things happen to me out on the kayak, out on the lake. One time a bald eagle, I thought he was going to steal my fish. And I know he was looking at my fish. Yeah, neither did I. I didn't know fish could bark either. Makes sense. They have throats. They have tongues. You would figure they probably could make sounds if they weren't underwater. But his head wasn't underwater. It stuck its head out of the water and fucking looked at me and barked. So, it was weird. But yeah, no, I keep my fish in a bucket on the back of my kayak because there's snapping turtles in the lake. And if you put your fish on a stringer and drop them off the side of the kayak, snapping turtle will come up, grab the fish, and pull your kayak under. Especially the big snapping turtles that are in that lake. Good morning, Jose. How are you? So I keep my fish on a stringer, but they're also, after they're put on the stringer, they're put into a bucket on the back of my kayak. So I don't got to deal with snapping turtles. And I'm fishing, and I see this bird, big fucking bird, flying right fucking towards me from real far away. And I'm looking, I'm like, is that a hawk? And it's flying closer and closer, and it's and I see its head is white. And it's got big black wings, but its head is white. It's that's a fucking bald eagle. It's that looks awesome. And it's flying right for me. And it's closer and closer. And now it's probably 100 feet away. And it's coming right over the lake, right towards me. It's low. And I'm like, that motherfucker's going for my fish. What do? Do I fight a bald eagle for my fish? They're all on stringers, and I can't hurt an endangered bird. I don't know if they're endangered or not anymore. I actually don't think they are, but still, it's, you know, it's a big no-no. It didn't go after the fish. It flew right over top of the water from about 30 feet off to the left of me. And I was probably looking for fish in the water and probably sizing me up. But it was most certainly because of the fish that I had in the bucket. Because I had like 3 or 4 like real good sized bass in that bucket. Catch a lot of big fish out of that lake. I love that lake. It's great for fishing. It's not fished very much at all either. Like every time I go out there, there's maybe one other person out there with me in a boat or a kayak, and they're like at the other end of the lake. It's so fucking quiet, and there's no motors allowed, so there's no like motorboats and shit.
There's no oil in the water.
No oil in the water. It was a scary moment because I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm not afraid of a bald... probably should be.
Yeah, you should be.
But I wasn't afraid of the bald eagle specifically because I knew it wasn't coming after me. I knew it was coming after the fish in the bucket. But what do? Do I let it have the fish and hope it tears it off of the stringer? Do I fight back with my oar? I didn't know. It's Lawson Lake where I go fishing. So those stories Lawson's lament about that, you know, lake with the abandoned campground and stuff like that. That's all. It's a real place. There really is like a campground. It's not necessarily abandoned. You can actually rent out the cabins there. I've never seen anybody in the cabins, so it's basically you walk through a camp and like a summer camp. It looks like Friday the 13th Part 2. That's exactly what it looks like. There's little cabins, nice cabins with bunk beds and tables and shit all over. There must be 20 of them, all set up in the woods. And yeah, it's pretty. You can go right in the cabins, take a look. I guess you can actually rent the cabins out. It's something I'd actually like to do with Shiloh, as I think she'd have fun. She actually, I guess, the scouts go there once in the summer, and we were trying to get Shiloh into Girl Scouts, and we almost had her convinced at one point. Then that was when she was like, yeah, she's like, if we end up coming here in the summer, she's like, I'm going to bring your Locust Lake book with me, and I'm going to scare all the kids. She just wanted to go so she could go to that camp and fuck with all the children. That kid's hilarious.
That's my girl.
Oh, funny shit. She's funny. But, yeah, it's a real place. Lawson Lake is a real place. It's big enough to be a lake. It's a small lake, but it's not like a large pond. It's a lake. It's bigger than like the lake that they filmed the first Friday the 13th movie at. It's an actual lake. Can kayak the whole thing without too much problem. Coming back to shore from the opposite end, usually the current is real low going the opposite way. That can be a little tiring. Like I said, it's definitely a decent sized lake. Good variety of fish. There's sunfish, obviously those are in most lakes. There's perch, love perch, good eating. Haven't caught a whole lot of them out of there though, but I have caught perch out of there. There's obviously largemouth bass, pickerel. I've caught some good sized pickerel out of that lake. I've caught some big bass and some big pickerel. Biggest bass I've caught out of there was actually the bass I've been trying to catch my entire life. Over 20 inches long. Must have been about 3-4 pounds, maybe 5. I didn't weigh it, but it was. I could open up the mouth on that bass, and I was able to stick my fist inside. That's how big its mouth was. But the other bass I catch out of there are comparable. They're like 16 to 18 inches, 3 to 3.5 pounds. Good sized bass. I'm always catching out of there. And the biggest pickerel I've caught out of there was 24 inches long. That's a big pickerel. That's a big pickerel. And those suckers got teeth. Pickerel have big teeth. That's why when I go out bass fishing. But the thing is bass and pickerel, they eat the same things, and they're both predatory fish. So usually if you're fishing for bass, you're also fishing for pickerel. And pickerel have big old teeth. So I really don't go out on my kayak without a pair of, not pliers, but grips. A pair of like vice grips. So I can at least, reach in with the grips and grab the fish by the mouth and then, grab the hook and try and get the hook out. Or I'll have needle nose pliers on me. If I need to like reach inside, I'll reach inside with the pliers. Because, pickerel got pretty big teeth. Pike do too. But there's no pike in that lake. Like I said, pickerel. And there's crappie. I didn't even know there was crappie in that lake. And what a terrible name for that fish. Because crappie are amazing. They absolutely are. They're basically, they taste just like bass. Maybe a little bit less fishy. And they're so easy to clean. And like get with no bones. They're so easy. That's why a lot of people call crappie, they call them slabs. Because they're basically just slabs of meat swimming around. And big fillets. Like you get a lot, like a large fillet off a crappie. And I caught... I mean, I wear a size 12 shoe. And I have a picture of it, 11 and a half. But this fish was like, I put it on the ground next to my shoe, and you can see it's far bigger. Crappie is like a sunfish. It's usually a large sunfish. It's got black spots on it. It's actually a type of bass, but it's big and flat and round like a sunfish. And that's what it's called. It's called a crappie, and it's actually crappie. Crappie. Let me click over to this. Crappie. They're fantastic eating. Really good fight, man. When I hooked this thing, I was like, what the hell is this? I thought it was like a monster bass or like a huge pickerel. I brought it up to the freaking side of my boat. I got it in the net, and it's big. It's a big fish, but it was a crappie. It's like, oh, because I've caught crappie before. I've never caught a crappie this big. This thing was huge. It was like, it was big. Must have been a good, I think it was 14, 15 inches long. That's a big crappie. Big. I got huge fillets off that fish. And that's another great thing about Lawson Lake. You can eat the fish that you catch out of it because the lake is clean.
There you go. Oh, your hands are cold.
I'll survive.
Normally I'm running around in fingerless gloves.
They're good. So like, don't let like anybody be like, oh, I caught some crappie and I'm cooking that for dinner tonight. Don't think like because they're cooking crappie, oh that must be crappy. Like, it's a really bad name for that fish. Very much false advertising. It's a very fun fish to catch. Sunfish, pound for pound. Sunfish put up the best fight. They put up the strongest fight. That's why a lot of fishermen, they like fishing for sunfish. Because a good-sized sunfish will give you a fight like a bass will fight, like a good-sized bass. Sunfish put up a huge fight for their small size. So, and a crappie is a large sunfish. So hooking a large crappie, you can imagine the kind of fight that put on the end of my pole. They're a lot of fun to catch. They're a lot of fun to catch. And they're very good eating. Very, very good eating. I would say, yes, the only fish that allows for poop jokes over dinner. And, like, while you're eating it, you're actually going to feel bad about those jokes because you'll be like, damn, this really does not deserve its name. This is a good fish. So, just keep that in mind if you're ever offered crappie. I recommend it.
But it's better to have everything there so I can...
It's very good.
Boil, seep, dump, water.
So, can't wait for fishing and hiking.
Half a cup of sugar.
I actually love eating fish too. I'm actually such a big fan of fish that I went fishing one morning, I believe it was when Shiloh was little, at Locust Lake actually. We were camping at Locust Lake. And we got up real early in the morning, and we went out, we did a little bit of fishing, and I caught some sunfish and stuff, but I didn't catch a whole lot. But I caught a perch, right? I caught a perch. Good sized perch, too. I think it was like 13 inches long. It's a good sized perch. So I kept that. So I went back up and I was like, I'm gonna make fish for breakfast. So I fillet the fish, right? I'm getting it ready to go on the campfire on the grill. And it's got eggs. It's got fish eggs. I caught a pregnant fish. I didn't realize it was pregnant. If I did, I would have thrown it back. Now it's too late, right? I killed the fish. It's dead. We got to eat it anyway. So I ate the eggs too. I took the meat and then I took the eggs and I cooked them on the grill in a tiny little frying pan. And it made like miniature scrambled fish eggs to go with my perch. And my God, was that fucking amazing. What a great breakfast. That was really good. And yeah, perch. Perch are a lot of fishermen's favorite fish to catch. They're about as popular to eat as trout. Trout is way more fishy though than perch. Perch tastes sweeter, a little bit closer to lobster, but without a lobster flavor too. Perch is it's a cleaner fish to eat. It's lighter. It's not as heavy in fish oils, and a lot of people really like perch. Perch is like, if you like go to a place that sells freshwater fish, you'll see perch is like a big one. Perch is about as popular as trout. Perch is it's like a freshwater trout almost, just less fishy. And they're school fish. So usually if you land one, if you keep fishing in that same spot, because they all school together, if you find one perch, you typically can catch more. Perch are a lot of fun to catch. They eat like sunfish do, so you have to use like a worm, bobber. Mr. Twister works okay. I've caught some off bass baits, but typically you catch them the same way as sunfish. Sunfish are the tiny fish in ponds, Fuzzy, that like have orange bellies and stuff, like pumpkin seeds, bluegills. Those are sunfish. Pumpkin seeds and bluegills. We northerners call those freshwater sunfish. Pumpkin seeds and bluegills. So you catch them the same way you would catch bluegills. That's how you catch perch. Perch are really good eating. I'm actually kind of surprised that you have not heard of perch. Perch is a very, very popular fish. But no, I actually one of my favorite things to eat if I'm camping is bass and eggs. Like chicken eggs, scrambled eggs. Make scrambled eggs and a bass fillet for breakfast. That's really good. And by the way, yes, fish eggs. You say eek fish eggs. Caviar is real. It's a thing. It's a very popular thing. Which is also just fish eggs. Caviar is salmon eggs. But you can eat fish eggs. They're actually really high in protein. They're not any different than like any other kind of egg. They're really good for you. And yeah, so I mean, perch eggs are a lot smaller. They're like really tiny little beads. But I cooked them and basically made them into You're thinking of the ocean fish, I believe. The fish in the ocean. The giant sunfish. Like the actual fish they call a sunfish. Those are ocean. They're basically the ocean version of a bluegill. A bluegill is basically one of those, just much smaller.
It's like American spaghetti. Oh, I gotta make that for you. American spaghetti. It's hamburger, diced tomatoes, garlic, onions.
Yeah, it happens to me a lot too. We're all cut open a fish and there's smaller fish and stuff inside the stomach. I usually don't end up cutting open the stomach though. Usually I'm pretty good. I'm able to, slit down the belly without puncturing the stomach lining. So I can just take all the guts out at once. I don't even see usually what's in the fish's stomach. I have seen a fish in another fish's mouth before. Never really too much in the stomach. I love caviar. Caviar is really good. It's salty and sweet. That's all. It's actually really good. And yeah, fish eggs, like, they're no real different than like an egg. If you cook them, it's the same. It's the same thing. And I didn't let the fish go to waste, right? Like I caught a perch, it was pregnant, I would have put it back, but instead I roasted the perch over the fire and I, cooked the eggs. And it was actually really good. Probably one of the best breakfasts I've ever had while camping. And it was something I caught myself. So.
I've always assumed American
And I know you're not
was
into
basically the same as spaghetti, but with
that's really
different pasta. Because that's
Um,
how I've been taught to make it.
I mean, texture was a little different. It wasn't like, there's no crunchiness to it. And after you cook it, it's not like little beads that you bite into and they pop with like salty and sweet, like caviar does when you cook it. It was much closer to like eggs, but more, I don't know, hard to explain. It was like cooked fish eggs. It wasn't bad. It tasted like eggs. And
It looked like eggs.
it kind of looked like eggs, but it was more uniform. Like there was no white and yellow mixed in. It was just all yellow.
Hey, I have this,
So.
this, and this. I'm totally making something out of this that isn't what we always do.
Like, stuffed peppers. Yeah, just chew.
Yeah, no. Eating fish you caught yourself is fantastic, especially like for breakfast or one of the best times I've had, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the channel too, because I went to the lake and I tagged out. I ended up catching 5 bass and a perch. And tagging out means you caught your daily limit, and I was bass fishing. And I caught my daily limit of bass. You can only keep 5. So I came home that day, 5 big fish, good size bass, big old footballs I call them, and a perch. Put them all in the sink, let the water keep them fresh in my sink. And I took 2 of the bass, 2 big bass, went down the road to the farm stand and asked the farmer and his wife if they would make an exchange. Like, I just went fishing, I just caught these 2 fish, could I, maybe pay for, some vegetables with these? So the wife, she looks at me, she's like, I don't know how to clean fish. And she was just telling me how she was gutting a pig. And I'm like, you can gut a pig, but you can't clean a fish? She's like, no, I don't know how. I was like, if you can get me some water and a knife, I said, I'll clean them for you. So they brought over a hose and a knife and gave me a table out back to do it on. And, I cut them, I got 4 big fillets, skinless, boneless fillets off these 2 fish. Wrapped them up in parchment paper for them and handed them back. And they gave us 3 bags of 3 shopping bags full of fresh vegetables. I came home that day. I cleaned the other 3 bass and perch sitting in the sink. I fried the fish. I rolled it and breaded it. Rolled it in eggs and in my own personal secret fish breading. And I deep fried the fillets. And we got these pumpkin squash. They're like short little pan squashes. So I cut the tops off of that. And I scooped all the stuff out. And then I mixed in onions and other things and whatnot, other vegetables in with the guts. I cooked it and then put it back inside the pan squash. And, after I put cheese and stuff on the top of it, so it was all cheesy and vegetables and fresh, and served it like that. So you had like this squash that was a pan, you pull the top off of it, and it's filled with like cooked vegetables and cheese. And then like right next to it was like the breaded fish, and it was all stuff that I didn't have to pay for. I went out that morning and went fishing, and this was the dinner that I made for my family and my wife and my children. I don't think I'd ever seen them eat another dinner like that except for when my wife cooks and be that happy. Like, they really, really enjoyed this meal, and it was nice to be able to provide that for them. Just off of catching fish, taking a couple of them, going to the farmer's market, getting some fresh vegetables, coming home. I mean, the bass were so big. If the bass are at a certain size, because you get big, wide fillets off of them, and I take the belly meat too. I'll cut those fillets in half into, normal size fish fillets. So that means every fish, if they're big bass, I'm getting 4 fillets off of every bass instead of 2. And all 3 of these bass were that size. So we ended up with 12 bass, battered, breaded bass fillets, 12 of them. It was really good. It was a very good dinner. I actually have a picture of this dinner, I believe, but I've posted that on Discord. quite a few times, so I don't want to keep posting fish pictures. But I have definitely posted many successful fishing pictures. I went back through. One day I was showing people all the fish that I've caught. Because I take pictures every time I come home with fish. I'll take a picture of the fish I caught. And I was just posting picture after picture after picture after picture. And I was like, man, I've caught a lot of fish out of this lake.
Don't get me wrong,
So, and yes, you can send a picture. So, alright, I am going to have it's been over an hour. I'm going to have another smoke. And then I am going to end the Discord. I'm going to end the stream after my cigarette. And because I do have to get started for the day, I got to take my shower and at least start moving towards getting Lilith back to Massachusetts. So, yes, I know you have. I've posted them, I think, a few times, but like, there you go. Like, you've seen kind of firsthand, at least the proof I have to show, like, these are the fish I go out and catch at this lake. Like, they're not small, they're good sized fish, and I've caught them so many times. You can tell this lake is just teeming with big fish. It's teeming with fish, and it's so underfished. There's like nobody that fishes there. It's great. It's great. Even the people that go out on kayaks and stuff every once in a while there, a lot of them don't fish. They just go there to kayak. A lot of people that do fish, they fish off of the shore at the dock. That's it. The rest of the lake is basically not fished unless you're getting out there on a kayak and fishing or a little rowboat. And there are other people that do it, but it's not many. So it's nice. I love that lake. It's probably right now my favorite fishing spot. I was gonna take my kayak and go to different lakes because there's a lot of them around here, but there's no need. If something's not broken, don't fix it, right? Like, I went fishing at this place. It's perfect. There's no people there. It's quiet. There's nature. There's big fish. That's cool. I would not want to work on a platform in the ocean. The ocean kind of scares me. Deep water scares me. It's another thing about that lake. The lake is not very deep all the way across where I fish. It's maybe 10 feet deep in the middle. At least that's what I've been told. But it's not very deep. I am a little scared about what's in there because there's huge snapping turtles. Nothing will make you think twice about dipping a finger in the water than seeing a snapping turtle with a shell the size of a manhole cover come and pop up right next to your kayak. Now, they usually don't. Snapping turtles, I've realized, if they're in the water, they don't just leave you alone. They'll swim away. Snapping turtles only are aggressive on land. They're not aggressive in the water. So I'm not too afraid of snapping turtles, and beyond that, I don't think there's anything else. I have seen a snake there on the shore. Wasn't a water moccasin. Never seen a porter.
Garden snake.
On the shore? No, it wasn't. Not the one that crawled across the front of my kayak. No, it wasn't. It was a
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
It was a northern water. You weren't there. It was a northern water. It was a northern water snake.
Okay.
No, it was a baby. It was the size of a garden snake, but it was a northern water snake, and they're also not poisonous. So there are water snakes, and I am terrified of snakes. But I know the snakes there, at least the ones I've seen, aren't poisonous. I have been swimming in that lake. I've swam from one side to the other. Working as an intern for the Lady of the Water. That's funny. But yeah, I'm not too afraid of the lake. I would not want to be out on the ocean. I'm not a big fan of the ocean. I'm a little afraid of the ocean. The lake's fine. And I love fishing. Love fishing. Can't wait to get out fishing. Didn't do any. It's been 2 years now. I didn't do any fishing last year. Because I was just so wrapped up in my job that I had for 6 months before they laid me off.
can't because we have brown recluses. One
Right.
fell right on Shiloh's
No, I mean
head
like
one
in
time.
houses and stuff.
One fell right on Shiloh's head one time. I can't.
Yeah. I've never seen a snake in the water. I saw a snake next to the water. Anything like that's there's snakes in the woods when I go hiking. There's snakes in the woods when I go camping. It's not like there's snakes all over the place, but yeah, every once in a while you'll see a snake. That's where snakes live. I can't expect I wouldn't want to catch fish out of a lake if there wasn't snakes. That means there's something wrong with the ecosystem. Something wrong with it. If there's fish and there's frogs and there's all these other things, you're gonna have snakes. It's a snake's habitat. So yeah, I still do things, even though I'm terrified of things. Like, it's not gonna stop me from doing the things that I do like to do, ever. Even if I'm phobic.
That sounds like a tarantula, yeah.
Yeah, but that's like Amazon. That's like an Amazonian.
So yeah, I am afraid of snakes, but not so much that I'm not gonna go kayak fishing.
Pretty big, but
I love kayak fishing way more than I'm afraid of anything.
the bigger tarantulas.
There's nothing like I mean, if you're stressed out, you're just, I mean, or if life's kicking your ass or whatever, there's just something about going out, leaving your phone in the car, and just going out on the lake for like 3 hours and just throwing bait in the water and listening to the birds and splashing around in the water. It's relaxing. It's therapy.
Not a fan of spiders. I like snakes. We used to have 3 of them.
You mean a bloodworm? No, not since I was a child.
You'll notice.
You see a crocodile as you first come in.
If you're talking bloodworms.
And then you go in a second door, and I told him, I said, just hold on to my hand.
So,
And breathe.
yeah,
It was all
I will not stop fishing. I'm not going to stop camping. Not going to stop hiking. I love all these things. I love the outdoors, and I can't wait for it to warm up outside so I can get back outside. I'm itching to get back outside.
You don't understand, man. The snakes, it's women and children first.
It is. With me and snakes, it is women and children first.
That's why, I have to take lead point every time we
The
go
hell
fucking
is a
hiking.
bloodworm? They're
That's also why
worms that
when
bite.
we go hiking,
They have them down
the
south.
sound and the vibration
They
is what
look
it
kind of like earthworms, but they're longer
him and Shiloh
and
are- Shiloh
more
is, like,
uniform
down.
pink. Like, they're smoother. They don't have ridges, and they latch on like a leech
She
does.
used to be scared.
They bite.
I found
So,
like a big,
and yeah, hiking in the woods, listening to nature, feeling the breeze, being out in the sun. I love it. The stream has been going for almost an hour and 15. My cigarette is gone, and I am going to get going. So I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for sitting here and listening to me ramble about everything. And it took me a while to get into my groove. I think once I remembered that spring was coming, I had a lot more to talk about than what I thought I did. So. Oh, snakes. Yeah, no. Nope. No, I don't like any snake. So, snakeheads are good to eat, but I've never caught one. But anyways, love you guys. Have a fantastic Sunday. Hope it's relaxing for you. Be safe out there. Stay creepy. And I will catch you next time. I hope to see you this coming Saturday. And we'll see you then. Ta-ta for now.